Okay, so here's what's happening in this video. Just a few days ago, the Keiron, the newest Scion custom race, the one loosely inspired by the Protoss, had its newest unit, or structure if you will, released to the public. It's the Keiron's capstone piece. It's called the Aegis.
The Aegis.
I'm going to attempt to demo it and explain how it works. It has a crazy force field effect that you just absolutely need to see. Very quick, most of you already know this, but in case we have new viewers, no, this isn't official Blizzard content. This is part of the Scion Custom Races project. It's an indie production, all done by amazing fans and volunteers, the head of which is a very cool guy by the name of SolStice. Next, yes, Aegis is the right way to pronounce it. I looked up the phonetic spelling in the dictionary because I'm dorky that way. And you can see the Aegis is a reference to the mythic shield of Athena and Zeus. The shield is found in the Iliad, an ancient Greek poem/book that you may have been subjected to in high school or college. And we learn that once again, an alien race from a far-off world has named its units after Greek mythology. Don't be critical. This is a long-standing sci-fi tradition, both in Starcraft and out of it. It's just an established fact. Aliens cannot get enough of naming themselves after the made-up stories of monkeys from the third rock from the sun. Now, since the Keiron are Protoss-inspired, it won't surprise you that this new unit has a vague similarity to the Protoss mothership, or in my view, the mothership core, a unit removed from the game by Blizzard after it never quite found its place balance and role-wise. While I love the idea of the mothership core, I don't miss it all that much, as it resulted in Blizzard giving us the shield battery instead, and that's been tons of fun. You can see all the Ravagers who enjoy blowing them up giving me the hairy thumbs up. But maybe, just maybe, the Aegis will bring back the feel of the mothership core, back in an improved form. So here's what you need to know. The Aegis costs a whopping 400 minerals and 400 gas, and it has a build time of 114 seconds, which is forever. Most units can cross most maps there and back in that span of time. But even more of a barrier, the Aegis requires a Pantheon or Zenith as a prerequisite. A Pantheon is the building that unlocks Titans, the Keiron's ultimate late-game ground unit. The Zenith is the thing that unlocks Paragons, the Keiron's capital ship. So we're talking about late game tech here. You make the Aegis from the Citadel, but it doesn't shape in like other units, or like other buildings. No tapioca pudding pools. Instead, the Aegis spontaneously appears out of the Citadel like a converter, or if you prefer, like a mothership does. And just so we're all on the same page, the Citadel is what the Keiron call their version of the Nexus. The Aegis then attaches to that Citadel, or maybe it floats above it, kind of like a mothership core did at one time. The Aegis has the massive type and the structure type. It does not move, save for as I'll explain below. Now, the Aegis doesn't have the hero type, but it acts like one, and that you can only ever make one at a time, like a mothership. The Aegis has 400 shields and 600 health for a total of 1,000 hit points. Its attack is called Bulwark Blast. It hits both ground and air. The attack does 40 points of damage per blast. It has a range of 10, which is pretty huge. That's the same range as a Liberator in Defender mode, before upgrade, or a Tempest shooting targets on the ground. Or, if you're a Zerg player, that's the range of the Broodlord leash on its Broodlings, or a Lurker Spine if it has the upgrade. Those of you who remember Photon Overcharge, where the mothership core would cause pylons to spontaneously start shooting stuff, that was 30 damage, range of 7, speed 0.714, so it's kind of similar in DPS. If by similar you mean better. But while shooting stuff is important and cool, we came here for the big ticket abilities. Well, at least I did. You came here because you clicked something by accident. Anywho, the Aegis has two abilities, Relocate and Activate Shield. First, Relocate. This lets you move the Aegis to another Citadel. That costs 50 energy. That's gonna let you move your big honking gun to whatever Citadel's under attack. It feels just a little bit like a Nexus recall. Remember, you can use your backspace key to switch between citadels at any time. Now, second is Activate Shield. That's like a full-on science fiction force field from your favorite movie. Two things happen instantly as soon as the shield is activated. Everyone inside becomes invulnerable to attack. You heard that right. Invulnerable, not just improved armor or shields, but invulnerable. And second, all enemies are pushed completely outside the shield. Check this out. I call it the Mass Marine Moonwalk. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one, but the kid is not my son. Now, if you have friendly allied units inside the shield, they are still able to attack out of it. It's like a one-way mirror shield. How cool is that? Enemies won't be able to attack them back, though enemies can attack the shield itself. The bad news for those enemies is that the shield has 3,000 hit points. And if not attacked, the shield's gonna last for 40 seconds. So, opponents can treat it like so many players treat battery overcharge. You can pull back your army and wait for it to expire before returning. However, the Aegis has a cooldown of 45 seconds. So in theory, after it expires, you could relaunch it again 5 seconds later, if you had the 50 energy, which you probably would. So the outwait strategy could potentially take a while, as if the Aegis is fully loaded with energy, it could in theory have up to 4 force fields available. Now there's a lot of interesting unit interactions with this. First off, as you will see, if your opponent makes the mistake of clicking on units protected by the shield, their units then smack into the shield and bounce off helplessly doing nothing. You need to attack the shield. Fortunately, that's not hard to do. The shield is pretty huge. Most of the time, your units will do that automatically for you. But watch these mutas totally spaz out. They're like on a yo-yo string or something. Next, a really interesting feature is that the shield can't kick out burrowed units. But once they unburrow, then they suddenly get kicked out. Units that don't move stay put. This is going to include Basilisks, for example, and even siege tanks. But remember, even if enemy units are inside the shield, all the friendly units and structures inside still can't be hurt. They're still invulnerable. So all that really happens is enemies inside the shield attack the shield while they get pounded by any available defenders. Some of the Aegis's interactions with certain units gets a bit unpredictable, like these siege tanks in siege mode. Once they're inside the shield, everything inside is invulnerable, so you think they just attack the shield, but instead, they just stop attacking. And then, as soon as the Terran player tries to unsiege them, they immediately get ejected from the bubble. No soup for you! Once outside, they start attacking the shield again. Oh, and just in case you missed it, because you're like me and you're always watching what's going on at the outside of the shield, when the Aegis activates the shield, its arms unfold. I love the attention to detail here. So that's the basics of how it works, but I want to give you a few final notes. The Aegis, like most units, can have up to 200 energy, and it spawns with 50, so it can use the shield or the teleportation trick immediately upon spawning. Both its abilities cost exactly 50. Next, as cool as it may sound, don't start dreaming of the proxy Aegis. If you do nothing but tech jump, it still takes 7 minutes before you can fire your first force field. You need to build all the prerequisites and then build the Aegis itself. The Aegis really only comes into play mid to late game. Fun fact, if the Citadel is destroyed, the Aegis can actually survive on its own. So you can actually have one without a Citadel underneath it. Oh, and here's a neat trick, though if you're familiar with the Keiron, it'll be pretty obvious. The Citadel has a spell-like ability called Energize. One of the effects of the Energize ability is to recharge shields, and that includes the shields of the Aegis, which is always going to be conveniently close enough because it's right on top of the Citadel. Aegis and Citadel, they go together like Batman and Robin. Peanut butter and chocolate, Kerrigan and Rayner. Subscribing and Zugzwang. Subliminal messaging aside, you get the idea. The point is those shields are flying back to full. Oh, and I should cover off that the Aegis is not a detector, as these DTs are about to demonstrate. But although the Aegis won't shoot cloaked units, the shield will still push them out. Oh my god, DTs even look cool when they're being made fools of. You know me, I'm gonna have to see that again. So just a reminder to our Keiron fans, if you want detection, you gotta get yourself the structure called the Oculus. And just so we put the Aegis in its proper context, remember the Keiron has no static defense, no turrets of any kind. This, the Aegis, is what they get. And since I'm making what I hope will be one of the first videos on the Aegis, that means I get a head start on balance memes. Here's my early attempts. Aegis, it's egregious. I know it doesn't really rhyme, but it's close. Okay, how about, hey, Aegis cost me the game. All right, it's a work in progress. Final thoughts. I think the Aegis is eventually going to really define the way the Keiron plays and the way the other races play against it. And I think we'll see some crazy stuff because of it. As for me personally, it's early days, but I think I'm going to love it. Have you ever played a game and got really stressed out and just wished there was a timeout button where everyone would just stop attacking you for a sec, give you a minute to get your units ready and catch your breath? This, the Aegis, is that very button. I, for one, am seething with jealousy. So come on, Keiron players. Get out there, have some fun, and push that button. Please do let me know what you think about the Aegis in the comments. And definitely let me know if you want me to wax on about more units or if I should get back to work and start casting some games. Thanks for sticking with me while we figure out this cool new development in the world of Scion. And from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.